Hey Rachel, I'm recording your video on Ash Wednesday to tell you about how I've seen you talk or act about ableism or special education. And I've really only heard you talk about it in ways that really make me question what I'm doing in a good way, and are really inspiring about how do we approach this? So I've heard you talk about it in a couple different ways, and I think you know this because you've talked to me about it, but I've heard you talk about it as a social justice issue. So like this just is the way it should be. This is a civil right, and this is the way it should be. I've heard you talk about it through a personal lens when talking about your kids, when talking about preparing teachers in other countries and seeing how special education is sometimes approached like it's not as big of a deal, like in a good way. Like, we're not going to label you, but then also what does that mean to have lower services and maybe lower expectations? I've heard you talk about both those things. I've also heard you talk about your cousin and like where your real story comes from of how you even became who you are and like became so passionate. I never heard you talk about it like in a pitying way, which I feel like even like strong special educators, like, my husband Dom, who, I feel like he sometimes talks about it in a way that like could be interpreted by other people. It is not meant to be pitying or, but it could be interpreted that way. And so I wonder about that. I've never heard you talk about it that way. I've also heard you talk about it in, now that I've known you in a different role, as that really, really knowing that this is where your impact is supposed to be. I've also heard you talk a lot about like, what does it mean to have different learning abilities and like, how is that just part of being human? And I think this is where like, we all have a role to play where, what does it mean to be human? And like, we're all like, Tom diagnosed me with, not jokingly, like with a learning disability when I hear phone numbers or whatever. And so I just think like, it is so hard for me to hear a phone number. Like, I literally listen to voicemails probably 5 times before I hear it. And, it's embarrassing on like a customer service call where they say 543 and I say 5 and they say 43 and I say 4 and it goes on. But like, what if that was how I process all my information? Actually, I can hear things and remember them, but not phone numbers or not words being spelled. And so I think you have challenged me on that. And I'm really excited that you're on our team because you're going to keep challenging me on how is it just a human issue rather than a niche issue? And I think that's a challenge for us moving forward. I have no idea if I did this video the right way, but I'm going to stop it. Talk soon. Bye.